I've mentioned in several other playthroughs that I'm a big Sonic the Hedgehog fan. As bad as some of the franchise's games are, I will always pick them up, especially if they're cheap, as most of them have got redeeming features. Most of them, but not all of them. Get away! Sonic R was a game I reviewed back when this YouTube channel was still a blog, and you can find a link to the blog in the description below. For those of you who don't know, it's a game where you race Sonic against his friends on foot. Sonic, whose one defining characteristic is that he is really fast, races some people who are not faster than him and is still able to lose. That game was so bad that I awarded it 0.1 out of 10 back when I used to give scores at the end of reviews, and I was sure that no other game could ever be that bad. And then the other day, I managed to obtain a copy of Sonic Riders. Now let's be honest, it's a racing game starring Sonic, but those can be good. I mean, the later games certainly are more fun. So which side of the good-bad divide will Sonic Riders fall? Well, just before I play it, and just to get a little analytical on your ass, let's look at some Wikipedia reviews. Now, Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing got good reviews, between 78 and 80% on home consoles, and the sequel did better, with scores up to 82%. So these are the best of the Sonic racing games, and Sonic R, one of the worst games I have ever played, apparently scored... What? So wait, if 76% falls on the good side, and 68.92% falls on the awful side, then what score did Sonic Riders get? Oh. So on the scale of absolutely terrible Sonic racing games, it actually scores lower than Sonic R? Oh god, that can't be right. Please tell me that isn't right. Well, I guess I'd better play it. No thank you, I don't want to insert a memory card. I don't want any record of this if it's as awful as I think it might be. Well, this isn't bad. In fact, it's kind of fun. I quite like the art style, and I'm sure the game will explain to me who these three new anthropomorphic animals are. But I like the hoverboards. Wait, that can't be right. Don't you know?
The bus don't work on water!
This intro seems to be milking it a bit. I'm all for introductions that tell us something, but all this has told me so far is that there's hover/surfboards being ridden by Sonic and his friends against Green the Bird, Pink the floppy-eared weirdo, and Grey Hulk, all of which I could guess by looking at the box! That's 1.5 minutes of pointless intro sequence, Sonic Riders. Now we can start the game properly. Yes, I know you won't be able to save the game. Jesus Christ, didn't you point that out enough times earlier?
Signal's coming from around here.
So I've started the game properly, and it's more cutscenes. But this time, with dialogue and mouths that don't move in time with what's being said in any way whatsoever. And unsurprisingly, Dr. Robotnik, I refuse to call him Eggman, is behind all of this, and his plan is to run a racing tournament because then he can take over the world. His plans are getting weirder every game.
A tournament to see who's the best of the best with extreme gear. Not just a race, but a special race to see who's the fastest. And these races are no holds barred. All contestants pay a simple entry fee of 1 Chaos Emerald, and the winner takes it all. among you dares to meet this challenge?
So finally, 6 minutes and 18 seconds after I started the game, I get to start playing. Wait, why are all the robots running backwards? How do I do it? What am I doing? Help! Oh, I see. You hold forward to start running, and then once you're racing, you no longer have to hold forward. Well, that makes all kinds of sense. God, these controls are bloody awful. I mean, you do at least get a sense of speed, but it feels like you're on rails, and then you get stuck in these farts. Sorry, I assume they're supposed to be air currents, but they're following directly behind people and they're all gassy and weird looking, so I'm going with farts. I guess being in these... I'll call them air currents, alright. I guess being in these makes you go faster, or you can pull tricks off. In reality, I can do none of these things. All I am so far able to do is lag behind everyone and oversteer like mad, because the controls are so slippery that it's infuriating. One good thing about this game is that you definitely get a feeling of speed. It's not like Sonic R where you just wandered around at a dawdle. This game, you're properly speeding off into the distance. The problem is you're not in control of what you're doing, so it just becomes a mad panic. In fact, you get to sections where you appear to have absolutely no control, as turning has very little impact, and the game just pinballs you around the corners. During this bit, I wasn't even steering, and yet I carried on along the track. How did this happen? After playing for a little while, I did sort of get the hang of how to do tricks, etc. But other than that, I still don't have a clue. I think my biggest problem is that basically it's an on-rails racer. You don't seem to have any control over your acceleration, except for the occasional use of the boost button and the occasional bit of crashing. It's very hard to go off the track, and yet the computer still beats you 90% of the time. There are other problems with the game as well. The voice works so quiet and compressed you can barely understand anything that's being said. The music is terrible. A lot of the fonts are almost unreadable. Do you know, I'm finding it tough to say something positive about this game. The graphics are pretty nice, I guess. Bright and colourful. But this game just isn't fun, and that one fact is what ruins a game for me. I've enjoyed ugly games, old games, dull games. I once played World Snooker Championship on the PlayStation for 17 hours straight. But if a game is not in any way fun, why would I carry on with it? I managed to play about 26 minutes of this game, which broke down into 7 minutes of intro, 10 minutes of confusion, and then 9 minutes of boredom. And that means I've just got to stop. Sorry, Sonic Riders. You may not be as bad as Sonic R, but you're not much better. Thanks very much for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed it. Please do click on the subscribe button to keep up with what I'm doing. You can like this video, you can comment on this video, and if you want to watch another one, I've put a link to my previous video games playthrough in the screen below. Thanks for watching.